Thanks for turning in to McKinnon Defense. I am the owner and chief instructor, McKinnon. And today we have a review of the Desert Eagle from Magnum Research. Before we get started, let's talk about the rules for safe gun handling. First, always keep the gun pointed in the safe direction. Second, always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. And third, always keep the gun unloaded until you're ready to use it. Alright, with that being said, let's get started. So, like I said, this is the Desert Eagle from Magnum Research. When you actually get the firearm, it comes in a nice sturdy box. Of course, it says Magnum Research across the front. It has a place where you can actually put a cable lock through it here. Nice sturdy latches. I don't think those are gonna break off anytime soon. Inside, you'll find the pistol. Let's see if I can get in there. 2 magazines. I'm sorry, 3 magazines. 2 here and 1 within the firearm. There's also a tool to take apart the magazine. Then you get the owner's manual and a separate piece of information about how to care for the very many finishes that come on this type of firearm. Alright, so let's go ahead and take it out the plastic and do a safety check. Empty. All right. Okay, so this is the Desert Eagle from Magnum Research. This particular firearm is in the nickel finish. It also comes in, of course, the black oxide. It comes in the chrome finish, titanium gold tiger stripe finish, which is quite amazing to see, and also comes with the 24 karat gold finish if you really want to get fancy. It has a 8-round magazine in this particular model. This is the 44 Magnum model. It comes in 357 and 50 AE. Okay. Alright, so the features on this gun. Of course, as you can see right across the top there, it's a Picatinny rail for mounting optics. It does have the ability to change your sights if you want to change your sights. It has ambidextrous safeties. Safeties, not decocker, safeties. And extra wide grip. And the reason why it's such an extra wide grip, put this down for a second, is because the 44 Magnum was originally designed to go in a revolver. So this is a 44 Magnum. This is a 357 Magnum. Note the difference. Let's give you a better look at it. Look how wide this is compared to this one. Okay? The rounds I used for this review was a Winchester soft tip, jacketed soft point, 240 grain, and is rated for a black bear and deer. So, like I said, the reason for the grip to be so wide is because it has to accommodate this round. So, another thing about this firearm is that it is a single action only firearm. And what that means is that this hammer has to be back before the firearm would fire. The double action, single action firearm, like this one, and I'll go ahead and safety check this one for you. Nothing there. Empty there. So this one, when you pull the trigger, if you'll notice, the hammer has to go back. That's going to be your first action, and then it goes forward. That's your second action. Magazine disconnect. Just 1 second. So the hammer goes back and forward. On this firearm, that is not what happens. Press the trigger, nothing happens. And it's not because of a magazine disconnect. It's because this is a single action only firearm. So when you go to actually put your round in the magazine, put it in the mag well, in this case it's going to lock back because it's empty, but alright, I short stroked it so it won't lock back, but it has to be in this position before it'll fire, and that's every time. So for that reason, I don't find this firearm to be useful as a concealed carry for a couple of reasons. One of them being that it is a single action only gun. Now, there are single action only guns that will work for a concealed carry firearm, like the 1911s. The 1911s also have a lot of times the ambidextrous safety, but then they'll have the grip safety, meaning that you have to actually grip the firearm, flip the safety, and then fire. You don't want to walk around locked and cocked like this with the safety on. That's not a good deal. As a matter of fact, the manual tells you not to do that. This is not a concealed carry firearm. However, the owner of this firearm, which is not me, has found an outside waistband holster to fit this firearm. And just for fun, I wore it for a day, and I can tell you that it's a little bit awkward because when you sit down in the car or you sit down on the couch, because it's so long, this barrel, it kind of makes you tilt over a little bit. Alright? So, let's talk about the other specs on this gun. The overall length is 10.75 inches. The barrel length is 6 inches. The actual height of the pistol is 6 1/4 inches. The width, 1 1/4 inch. The weight, 4 pounds. 4 pounds. Now, that is heavy to carry around, but what I can tell you that it is actually helps when you're actually shooting this firearm, because the .44 Magnum is such a powerful gun. The weight makes the recoil a lot manageable, so that's why it's so heavy. But yeah, 4 pounds, and my friend says he carries this thing all the time. Okay, so now let's talk about how you actually take it apart. Let's get inside this thing. So if you notice, there's a takedown latch here. On the flip side, there's a button. I don't know if you can see it. All the chrome, all the nickel shining back at you. There's a button here. So what has to happen is that you have to press this button in and swing this lever down. But before that, you have to bring back the slide. So let me see if I can do this on camera. So you bring back the hammer. You can put it on safety if you like. It should be empty. Always double check your firearm before you disassemble it. Now you press this in, you take your finger and you pull the lever down and everything comes apart. So your barrel comes off like so. Excuse the gun, I've just got back from the range. I haven't cleaned it yet. And then the slide comes off like so. Now I suggest that you actually flip it over because you'll find there is double springs in here, double recoil springs, and that is what makes the slide kind of hard to pull back, but it also makes the recoil manageable along with the weight. You'll find another attachment that helps the spring stay in place here. And then I saw this. This is really interesting. If you notice, for all you AR-15 guys, does that look familiar to you? That is something that looks pretty close to an AR-15 bolt. If you look here, kind of looks like the end of an AR-15 barrel, doesn't it? And with that, the firearm is apart for field stripping. I'm sure you can go a little bit deeper and take some other stuff out, take the bolt out and clean and all that. It's not my firearm, and I'm not going to risk anything happening to this firearm. The manufacturer suggested retail price on this is $1,886. That is $1,886. You probably can find this somewhere around the neighborhood of $1,600 at your local gun store. Okay, so let's put this back together. So while I'm putting this back together, you may have seen this particular type of firearm recently in the movie Deadpool, where the main character, Deadpool, actually had two of these. He was fighting with two of these at one point. And it's been in over 500 movies because it is a very exotic and interesting firearm, to say the least. Alright, so when you're putting this back on, there's some rails right here. There's a notch on each side of the rail, and then you have some rails on this side. You match them together. Okay. You can flip it over. Now, on the barrel, if you notice this part right here, that slides into this area. Okay. It all comes back, slide together. Okay, crack it one time. There you go. Flip the safety off. Set to go. Bing. All right. Okay, so my experience with this firearm. What I can tell you is that when you're in the range and everyone's there on the line shooting, and you pull out one of these and start pulling the trigger, it is a head turner. When I fired this firearm, everyone in that section of the range stopped, looked, made a couple of comments like wow or damn, and it is a head turner. A couple of people asked me what it was. We had a nice little conversation about what it was, what it fired, and things of that nature. I can tell you that it's also a soft shooter, like I said before. This gun is absolute fun to shoot. I think I've had one of my better experiences shooting this gun because it's so loud, so powerful, but it's also pretty accurate. Okay, so how would I use this gun? Would I use this for a home defense gun? No, probably not. One, because it's a single action gun. It's not like the 1911 where you can just grip the gun, flip the safety, and then pull the trigger. This one you actually have to pick it up, cock it, and then pull the trigger. I also think that the round of 44 Magnum is quite powerful for inside the house. Another reason is that it does not have a light rail. It is absolutely smooth and there is no light rail, no light going on that. So I want at least the option to put a light underneath the pistol. I will also use this for just conversation starter. I know that some people actually have open carry barbecues. This will be perfect. It's definitely a conversation piece. But something for concealed carry, probably not. Probably not for the reasons I already mentioned. Just for comparison, this is a Glock 21. Safety check. Nothing in it. This is a full-size duty weapon. Compare that to the size, just the overall length of this. Look at that. Now let's compare the width. Big difference. It'd be hard to conceal this in some of those places in America where if you just actually print, you get in trouble. I really wouldn't suggest this at all for concealed carry. Hunting. It depends. The round will definitely take out deer and bear. However, what it depends on is the finish. With the black oxide finish, yeah, I wouldn't mind it, but not in the gold or the titanium gold or the nickel. I wouldn't want to mess up this beautiful gun, so I definitely wouldn't take it hunting unless it's black oxide finish. And even then, I'll probably take another firearm because the manual will even tell you not to put a round in the chamber until you're actually ready to fire. Meaning, you don't want to walk around with this round in the chamber and the safety on. It says so in the manual. So, I wouldn't actually, I would have to keep another firearm for other things that might pop up while you're hunting. So, this particular firearm is made by Magnum Research, which is now owned by Car Arms. That does have three different designs. I'm sorry, three different what's the word I'm looking for? Three different generations. Okay, you have the it was actually designed in 1979 through 1982 by Israeli Military Industries. They designed the Mark I in 1983. And in 1990, the Mark VII came out. In 1995, the Mark 19 came out. And from what I understand, it hasn't changed since the Mark 19 in 1995. So even though this is a very futuristic looking gun, this has been out since 1983. And that's probably why it's been in over 500 movies. Stay tuned after the video, after this review, for video footage of me actually shooting this firearm. I can tell you, this is the first time I fired a .44 Magnum, and while it is soft shooting, it took me some time to get used to the sights, as with any new firearms. So while it was accurate, it's not as accurate as I would like, and that's probably my fault. I just, like I said, I'm not used to shooting this particular firearm, so I don't fault the gun, I fault myself. I found that I was shooting a little bit low and a little bit left, so it might just be something that I wasn't pulling the trigger, pressing the trigger correctly for this particular firearm. So yeah, stay tuned for the footage afterwards. Please like and share this video, subscribe to my channel, and please like me on Facebook. I have more reviews coming. This is one of the more pleasurable firearms that I've actually shot, and it's been a pleasure. Alright, thanks for tuning in. Bye. I wouldn't have recommended it.